it's just, it is a hard to read book. Hey guys, welcome to Banned Book Week, Day 4. So today I'm going to be talking about Jumper by Stephen Gould. So Jumper was banned for a homosexual rape scene. And I have so much to talk about with this book. Okay, so let's just start with why it was banned and what I think about it being banned. And then we'll jump into everything else. So right off the bat, I'm going to say if you have not read the book or seen the movie Jumper, I would not continue on down this path. But like I said, Jumper was banned for a homosexual rape scene that happens in the book. And it happens right off the bat. Like, it happens on page 8. So, I mean, right away. So if you were scanning this book for should it be on an approved reading list, yeah, right away you're gonna just deny this book completely. So yeah, like, the scene itself was pretty, like, I wouldn't say, it was pretty graphic. It was pretty graphic. So it's pretty graphic, but, I mean, nothing, it gets stopped. Like, it doesn't actually happen. So, but leading up to it is pretty graphic. And so it's not listed on why it was banned, but there is quite a bit of swearing in the book. Lots of abuse, physical abuse, alcohol abuse. There's, I wouldn't say exactly sex scenes, but there's some very suggestive scenes in the book. So I would definitely not approve this for like a middle school or a junior high book. I would say it might be okay for a high school reading list. But I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I don't know a high schooler who would make it through this book. Honestly, like, I barely made it through this book. So if you don't know, Jumper is about David Rice, who is a young man. He has not so great of a upbringing, and he finds out that he can teleport just by mere thought, and he calls it jumping. That's the name of the book, Jumper. I can't tell you how many times the sentence "I jumped" is in this book. I would not want to have to go through and count it all. So basically, this book is all about David Rice and having to come out of a bad childhood and be on his own and find his way in the world and find love and some other stuff. And then there's like a whole thing with terrorism. Yeah. So yeah, I was so excited to read this book and jump into it. Because I really liked the movie back, I hadn't seen it since it came out, but I remember really liking the movie and just loving the whole like secret organization, even the name, the Paladins, was awesome, and I was so excited to learn more about that. And then I started reading it. Nope. Oh my god, they changed so much for the movie and made it so much better. So if you don't, I don't know if you've seen the movie or not. Jumper was back in 2008, I believe, and it had Hayden Christensen in it and Samuel L. Jackson. And at the end, they had like Kristen Stewart, and I think they were going to try and make it into this big like sequel or trilogy series. And I don't think it went over so well in the box office, and Kristen Stewart got signed up for Twilight. And I think they were headed in a big direction with Kristen Stewart's character that shows up at the end of the movie. And so I think a bunch of things killed that franchise. So I went into this book so excited because I was like, yeah, I want to read more about the Paladins and jumpers, like other jumpers, and all this stuff. I wanted to get more detail on, because it's the book, there's always more detail, and like the twist at the end that like his mom was actually a paladin, and that's why she left when she found out he was a jumper. I believe that's what they say in the movie. This book is honestly, and the reason I say I don't think a high schooler can get through it is because it's so boring. I had such a hard time reading this book, and I just kept expecting like something big and exciting to happen, and it just never did. For one, Stephen Gould puts way too much detail into everything. Like every little thing is just too much detail. In a book this, yeah, it's just too much detail. So you imagine in a book this thin, and half of it's just detail of this thing or this thing or this thing happening, there isn't like a ton of, nothing happens. Another thing is the hero isn't necessarily someone you want to root for. He gets his power, and yeah, like in the movie he robs a bank, like out the get-go. But he just does some other things that are just kind of like, I don't really like you, man. I don't know why I'm reading your character right now. And like the first half of the book is just him going to the theater. Like not even the movie theater, like play, like theater, like stage play, like stage theater. Like that's half the book. There's a couple moments where like he uses his powers to like get revenge, and that's kind of cool. But somehow the author took this awesome concept, this awesome idea for like a revenge story, and he still made it boring. He still put so much detail into like what happened between like the revenge points that it just ended up being boring. And then you hit this point in the book where like I would call it the fall of David Rice, because like in the book his mom dies, she gets killed in a terrorist attack, and then his girlfriend, like the FBI has been kind of keeping an eye on him, and they catch him like in the act of jumping, and so like the FBI is on his trail, and they get a hold of his girlfriend, and his girlfriend finds out he's been lying to her, and she dumps him. And so like his mom's dead, his girlfriend dumped him, he's on the run from the FBI, and he just hit this point where it's like, oh my god, I'm so depressed reading this right now. I don't even want to keep reading. And so yeah, it's like instead of the awesome like ancient order of paladins that have been hunting down jumpers all these hundreds of years, you have the FBI like chasing him down, and it's a lot less epic, as you could probably guess, and a lot less action packed. And yeah, and then he gets on this whole, since his mom died in a terrorist attack, he gets on this whole like going and hunting down and stopping terrorists, and it's just, it gets just very blah. And yeah, and he's the only jumper. They exclusively say in the book that there's no one else out there like him. He's the only one in existence. Whereas in the movie, there's like jumpers all over the place. In fact, I'm pretty sure Kristen Stewart was supposed to be his sister, and it turns out she was a jumper, and she's been hiding it from her mom all these years, and it was going to be a cool like series trilogy thing. It could have been cool, but that never happened. So honestly, I don't think I've ever been so let down reading a book, because I was just expecting this awesome novel with all this action and cool stuff, and it wasn't there. So yeah, I definitely understand why it was banned. I won't even try and argue that fact. I get why this book was banned, because there is a lot of stuff in here that honestly I wouldn't want my high schooler reading, because there's just a lot of questionable stuff, including the hero himself. So yeah, I don't know. It's just really boring. So I would definitely give Jumper like a thumbs down, and I wouldn't recommend it to anyone, because and there's more of them. He wrote more books. And so yeah, I'm not going down that road. So yeah. And I think like he ended up writing them like years and years, like maybe a decade between each book apart. And honestly, I don't know how he ever made more books. So that is it for this banned book. I was so happy to finish it. Like, I was so unbelievably happy just to put it down, and no, I did not have to pick it back up again. Oh, I was so happy to move on to the next book that, so happy. In fact, I even told my husband, I'm like, as soon as I finish this book, we need to watch the movie because it's been years since I've seen it. And I remember it being so much cooler than this. It has to be better than this. So, yeah. Alright, thank you guys so much for joining me for this banned book. And I will see you tomorrow.